And this is the thing, is this story is intriguing because there's so many component parts to it that you just have to go, whoa, it's really weird. Madeleine was I always say reported missing because we don't know that she definitely went missing on May the 3rd. So I always say reported missing because that's accurate.
Was there a homicide reported though for Portugal police at the start? Was it a murder they were looking?
No, they were looking for a missing child. Yeah, they were looking for a missing child. Actually, the Portuguese police, I think, struggled from the very beginning believing the abduction story because as soon as they went in, the crime scene had been contaminated. The McCanns and their friends had been all through the crime scene before the police arrived. Other people had come in from the holiday resort, trampling all through it. And for doctors who know about forensic evidence, again, I found that extraordinary. But one of the extraordinary twists and turns for me was, so that was May the 3rd when Madeleine was reported missing. On May the 4th, the very first TV broadcast about it was GMTV, Good Morning. Good Morning. That's what it's now morphed into, but then it was GMTV. And the editor was Martin Frizzell, who is now the editor of This Morning. And they said that a call came through about a missing child and they put it straight through and put it onto air, and that was when we first heard about missing Madeleine. And what was really curious was the woman who came through was a friend of Kate's, and she also claimed in that week she actually lived in the same street as one of Gordon Brown's brothers. And she claimed in that week to have bumped into him and said, these are friends of mine, they need help. But all of that is so extraordinary. Do you know what I mean? What's the chances of Kate McCann's mate living in the same street as Gordon Brown's brother? Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. All of this stuff is like...
question marks everywhere.
And that's why this is an intriguing case, even down to things like the apartment that they rented in Praia da Luz. It was owned by a family called the McCanns who weren't related to the McCanns. Even stuff like that. And it's always intriguing, isn't it, when you fall upon those sort of things and go, there's strange synergy taking place here. What's this all about? So, and that's what that case is like. And it's one of those cases where one thing can be a bit off, right? But we're not talking about one thing. We're talking 20, 30 things, that all kind of keep adding up and keep stacking up that make you have to go, this story is not as told.
Because when he was getting interviewed, Jerry, he's so calm and collective, but again, is that because he's a doctor and he's been through seeing so many dead bodies as well? Because we've still got to question it. Is there 100% proof that they were involved, or is it just people were experiment hunters, were always searching? It sounds like people like to hear bad shit as well as the good, where we could be wrong. Yeah, we could be wrong.
Here's the thing, James, I'm open-minded because I think you have to be as an investigator, right? I am fixed on something until something arrives to tell me that I have to question that. And then I will. I'm not arrogant. I will question that. But what I will say without a shadow of a doubt is that there is a great deal of evidence to suggest that Madeleine died in apartment 5A and that her body was disposed of in some way, rather than evidence to suggest an abduction took place. And so I'm just going on the evidence. The Portuguese police released their files. There was a lot of information in there. It was quite clear that the Tapas 9 were not answering truthfully. I mean, who needs to do 2 rough timelines about what you're doing when a child's missing, which they did do, right? Change their statements, witness statements changed. All really weird, peculiar stuff. Right at the beginning, knowing you're going to use this fund for legal fees. Why? You've got a missing child. Surely you'd be using it for travel fees. Do you know what I'm saying? Go find her.
The dog that was involved as well, was that the best dog in the world for sniffing out dead bodies?
Eddie and Keela were the creme de la creme of enhanced victim recovery dogs, right? This Martin Grime we're talking about. Anybody has to do a Google search. If you want a dog handler, we're talking Martin Grime. This is a man that the FBI used to put away people in the States when they couldn't find bodies, right? So Martin Grime was the top. And Eddie and Keela were exemplary, and they went and they alerted to only the places to do with Madeleine. So they went in all the apartments of all the people the friends who were there. They alerted to the apartment where Madeleine was reported missing. They alerted to a keyring that was in a hire car that Kate and Jerry had hired 28 days or so after Madeleine had been reported missing. They alerted to Kate's trousers. They alerted in the new apartment that the McCanns had been moved to away from the crime scene. They didn't alert anywhere else. They didn't alert. So to me, it's like all these dog alerts are where either around her parents, around her family, or where she was reported missing. dismissed. Well, but they said that the evidence, they didn't say the evidence was wrong. They said it was inconclusive and it needed more. And there were problems at the Forensic Science Service. And what we have now is Dr. Mark Perlin, who is a world-renowned expert who has come out, offered to re-examine that DNA for free, contacted Scotland Yard, where Operation Grange, which is the British investigation, they're not interested.
Yeah. Do you think Madeleine McCann's dead?
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
What time was she not reported? Was it not hours later before they contacted the police when she apparently went missing?
Well, they tell us that their first notification that she'd gone missing was at 10 o'clock when Kate went back to the apartment to check on them, because obviously their story was that they went out every night to the tapas bar across the swimming pool. Their apartment's there, tapas bar's there, and they said that them and their friends went out every night to have dinner at the tapas bar. They went back that even changed. But I think 1 minute was 15 minutes, then it was half an hour. But either way, they said they went back regularly to double check on the children. That already was a problem for me, right? I mean, we've just talked about me being an overbearing parent, right? Yeah. So the idea of going off on the lash, leaving your little babies, that to me, immediately, I didn't like these people from straight away. I was like, there's something off about these people. But, you know, it's always been an intriguing story to me. It doesn't add up. And like I say, my mind is open. If any information, I get information all the time. I actually got a call yesterday with somebody who swears to me that they saw Madeleine in Peru, right? So what have I done today? I haven't ignored it. I've been straight on to somebody, a contact out there, saying, what is the likelihood that, because they said that Madeleine was with a particular person. I said, what is the likelihood that this person was in Peru? I gave them the dates. And so I'm willing to... So
you're still investigating it as well?
I will always investigate. If you come to me and you sound legit, I'm not... There's some people come to me and tell me crazy stuff, which my solar plexus rejects straight away. It's like, I'm not having that. But if somebody sounds legit and they give me all the details of when they were there, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know.
Because there's not allegations that said the kids were drugged, because... You know, on a holiday, kids don't sleep. So if you're putting... What time did apparently put the kids to bed?
Oh, yes. So the time... So basically... They said that they went off to the tapas bar at 8:30, and then they were coming back periodically. And what they claimed was that Madeleine was first alerted to be reported missing at 10 p.m. And Kate went running back. And again... She's gone running back. So you're saying there's a predator that's taken your oldest child, but you've left your twins who were young in the apartment that you're... Who would do that? When I've been to the scene of crime twice, she could come out on the balcony and go, Jerry! That could have happened. You don't need to come back out and run back up. No. And that was odd to me. Again, those instincts were really weird stuff. So that was at 10 o'clock. The police log shows that the police were not called until 10:41 when they claimed that the police were called immediately. That was not the case. It was at least 41 minutes, during which time people traipsed through the apartment. The crime scene was a mess.
Yeah, contaminated.
Yeah, contaminated.
Yeah. Have there other kids ever came forward? Why have they never been seen? Or the other people who were at the hotel with them, why have they never came and spoken about any of this?
What, all their friends?
Yeah.
Well, this is where it gets tricky, of course, isn't it? Because, I mean... Hypothetically, let's do it. Let's run a hypothetical situation. Let's say that something did happen to Madeleine that they're all aware of. Well, I've talked to a lot of, crime investigators about this. How do you manage to get, hypothetically, all these people in a group to agree to go along with your lie, right? So I think the most common theory is that they were drugging the kids so that the kids wouldn't wake up. And the theory is that Madeleine was half dozy when Jerry came in, I think at 9:15, heard his voice outside talking downstairs to a TV producer who was also holidaying, and fell off the back of the sofa, possibly hit her head. That's where the blood and possibly died behind the sofa. I think that's one of the most common theories about what happened to her. Sorry, I keep going off on a tangent with you, James.
Okay.
My mind is like, there's so much.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much about this case. Even to this day, it boggles my mind because it's so insane. It's just so insane. So much of it just doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. So So they had that period when they didn't do anything. But so the crime investigators I've talked to, because I'm really curious, how couldn't all 9 people be involved in a secret, right, and keep it all this time, 13 years later? Actually, it's quite common. It's quite common because if in the event that's what happened, don't forget all those other adults would have also been complicit to a certain degree because they would have known that the children were being given Calpol or whatever it was to make them drowsy. They might have even been doing it to their own little toddlers, right? So they're all complicit. And in that situation, who knows, just say hypothetically that they found her dead body. Even doctors don't necessarily know what to do with a dead body that they're not prepared for. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why obviously investigators are always interested in the immediate, those immediate 24 hours, what took place there. And there's a lot of clues in that. As I say, they did 2 different timelines.